Hi, welcome. I am really excited to share about this pretty close to home for, I feel, a lot of people getting out of a funk and how to do it naturally. Of course, we can always run to the pharmaceuticals, we can run to our doctor, we could run to the liquor store, or if you're in a state where it's legal, the dispensaries. But is that really, going to be effective long term, or is it going to make things worse? And maybe you've been in a funk for a really long time. Maybe it's been years. Maybe it's been months. Maybe it's been weeks. Maybe it's just been a few days. And this happens to pop up at the right time. I'm really excited because not only have I had to pull myself out of a funk many, many, many times, but I've been able to help other people pull themselves out of it too. So I am really excited to share about all the tips and tricks that have helped me, my friends, family, and clients along the way. And anyone who knows my story, often asks, how did I do it? How did I not succumb to, being a victim or just staying in bed and just kind of giving up? Where was my hope? And something Jordan B. Peterson said recently, my sister and I went and saw him, was if you don't have aim, you don't have hope. So I think that ties in really well with what I'm talking about today, because I always had an aim, and my aim was to never stay stuck. Sure, we're going to get down, we're going to get in funks. That's part of being human. That's part of our human experience. But that doesn't mean we have to stay there. And there are many ways we can pull ourselves out or get pulled out if we need. The big thing of think about being resilient and being human is not staying stuck and really, really fighting to live your best, happiest, healthiest life. And, that doesn't mean you're not going to get in a funk again. That doesn't mean you're not going to have bouts of depression, especially if you're prone to it. But there is always a way out. So the first part of this, I just want to, say if anyone's struggling, you can reach out to me privately and, we could have a deeper conversation about that too. Or if you're, fine sharing about it, go ahead and drop it in the comments and we can all support each other. It's, what we're here for. So one of the biggest things I found, hindsight, perfect clarity, is every time I got in a funk and, was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into funks and depression. I mean, funks, depression, whatever you want to call it. I noticed I really noticed a pattern, especially around when the world shut down around COVID. A lot of people had to work remotely, and I loved going to the office. I had a downtown apartment. I worked downtown Atlanta, and I walked to work. I love the hubbub and the vibes and seeing people and collaborating in person. And, it was really, really hard to just, go to work at home. And my beautiful apartment, felt like a prison, which I'm sure most people can relate with. A lot of people who had to switch to remote work, especially if they had a small living situation or an ideal one. I mean, mine was ideal when it was only my place to rest and cook. It wasn't ideal to also work in. So a lot of us experienced that. And I didn't really know how to combat that. I did notice some patterns happen though. I would stop getting up early. I'd stop getting up early, ready to, get a little workout and make myself a good breakfast and take my dog for a walk and, really dress up nice and get ready to go to the office and ready to embrace the weather, the short walk it took me to get there. I ended up just rolling out of bed in my pajamas, no makeup, no cute dress, and no hair, might pull my hair back, and I'd roll out of bed and sit down at my computer, log on, 2 minutes before I was supposed to be at work, and see if anyone needed me and, get some work done. And then I would make some breakfast. And then maybe I would take my dog out a little later. Depending how bad she had to go out in the morning. I guess that was before making breakfast usually. So I'd take her out and then maybe come back and sit and do my work. And then maybe I would make it to breakfast. And as the time went on, the less and less I would prioritize taking a walk, the less I would prioritize working out, the less I would prioritize getting ready. If there was no meetings that I had to be on camera for, why bother? And so all of that coincided with, my emotions and my kind of hopelessness feeling, and just helped sink me further because I had nothing to look forward to. I wasn't accomplishing anything. So that was something I recognized. And when I was younger, it was kind of the same thing when I went to school. It was roll out of bed, do your best to look semi presentable, and roll into the car and roll into, your classes. There was no motivation. I wouldn't make my bed. I wouldn't really try too hard to present myself. So looking back, I could see these patterns that I didn't prioritize me or my time. I was tired. I hurt. I didn't want to go do the things I had to do. And so I put no effort into it. And so I really didn't treat myself like a priority at all. I thought, laying in bed as long as I could, and just doing the bare minimum, was self-care. It was, I only had so many spoons, so I didn't want to spend it on, things that weren't necessary. But what I found out is by not putting myself first and trying to, give myself more time to enjoy things, I actually had less spoons. And when I would take time, and, I credit a lot to my parents who, told me, get out of bed, do something with your life. They didn't understand my condition, but, hindsight once again was 2020. And it was so beneficial in the long run, because the more I forced myself to do things, the more resilient I became, the more spoons I would end up having, the more time I had to enjoy things. And then I got that spark of hope again, and that spark of life. And I could see that all the way from my early childhood illness into, things nowadays. I make sure that I am up at least an hour before I have to do anything. That fluctuates sometimes in the day. It's pretty consistently 6 to 7:30. And I give myself time to wake up and don't have to rush into things. And I can enjoy, if it's sunny out and it's nice, I can go sit out and absorb the sunshine for a moment. And that really helps me pull myself out, and giving myself an hour. So that is my first tip. Give yourself an hour before you have to be anywhere, before anything is expected of you. Give that hour to yourself. And what you do with that hour, I've got some great ideas. Get a little movement in, is it nice? Can you go for a little walk? Just enjoy that sunshine. Sun is so underestimated these days, and it is so powerful for our healing. Do you have a dog that you could take with you or not? Just go go with yourself. If it's cold out, can you do a little bit of yoga? I love looking up YouTube exercise videos. I've found some fun boxing ones, HIIT, also really good yoga ones. Just move your body a little, and, just, feel it. Even if it's sore, just appreciate that you have this experience, that you have the experience of being human. And if you're not there, feel free to leave a comment, and I can help, maybe help you get there and find the gratitude of living in this human experience. Read a book. I love self-improvement books. I'm constantly learning how to improve myself, how to improve my business, how to improve this life. And it's, just even 5 minutes or 5 pages or whatever that looks like to you. If you read for, 5 pages, you could easily get through a book in a week or two, depending on how big the book is, of course. Take this time to meditate. If you're not into meditation practice, you don't know where to start, I can help you there too. I've got previous videos explaining some different ways of starting a meditation practice and some different meditation styles. First, you can just sit and think and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. That's the first step into mindfulness, kind of. It's a good way to start practicing mindfulness meditation without actually practicing mindfulness meditation. But if you observe your thoughts and your feelings as if you were a nonpartisan party reading a book or a case, just be really unjudgmental. Let them come in, observe them, and let them go. And if you want to reflect on that, maybe trying to do it without judgment, not without anger, without fear, without frustration, without pride, just trying to reflect on it as if you're reading someone else's story, right? These are all really good ways you can utilize the extra hour in the morning. It will help you feel better because you're actually accomplishing things for yourself that you're not expected from anyone else to do. This is all for you. And then your brain understands that you are putting yourself as a priority, and that starts to change those hormones and those functions within the brain. So giving yourself an hour before you're expected to do anything changes your whole outlook, little by little. It might not happen overnight. It might happen very quickly for some people, within a week. It might take a few weeks or a few months, especially if you've gone through, a lot of trauma, or, a lot of hardships lately. It could take a little longer just because, you're trying to get out of the state of survival. That is my first big tip. Spend the first hour, get up early. It's not that big of a deal. Even if you're a chronic insomniac, I didn't sleep for 30 years. And, when I still implemented this, I felt better. And, gosh, of course I really wanted that extra hour of sleep, but did it actually help anything? Not at all. So prioritize yourself first. First thing in the morning, every day, it's you. Another one is eating healthy. And, this could differ to different people. It might be a diet for you. It might not. It might just be eating as little processed food as possible, cooking as much as you can. Try to eat a balanced diet, although I know that doesn't work for some people. Some people are really, really gung-ho about, and it makes them feel better. So, not to judge, whatever that means to you. Does it mean a vegan diet, vegetarian, carnivore, a mixed, balanced, what I call balanced diet? Because when I think of balanced diet, I think of, things in the ground, meats and veggies and fruits and all sorts of stuff. So, grains, I think that's balanced, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who disagree with me. So whatever you think healthy is, I know you're not going to think going to the fast food and only eating packaged items is healthy and good for you. So I won't have to go deep into that. I'll also tell you that when you do eat those ultra processed foods or fast food, or you're eating out, or you're drinking a lot of soda, there's usually a lot of self-judgment and self-loathing that comes in after. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or, oh, I don't feel so good, or, those foods they are designed to boost those hormones in your brain and dopamine responses and get high and excited and want more, and then you crash. So it's also physiological. It's not just psychological. It's, this whole thing. So the cleaner you eat, the better you eat, the better you think, and the better you feel. It's, the food industry has purposely designed our food to spike our good hormones and crash so we want more. And then, of course, you feel bad about that, and you feel bad about wanting the bad food or the cravings, and, oh, why can't I stop this crave? We get into self-loathing all about it. So the better you eat, the better you think, the better you feel. That is my second tip. The next one is going to be, trying to get adequate sleep. And I know this isn't easy for a lot of people, especially in our society. Like I said, chronic insomniac for 30 years, 1 to 0 hours of sleep. Sometimes I'd luck out with 4. 4 usually came on the second or third day of no sleep. Sometimes fourth, sometimes fifth. I understand sleep is a major issue, and especially in our society. So if you are also an insomniac, I can leave some pointers. I could do a whole video on sleep if that's requested by anybody. If it is, drop it in the comments and I can add it to the list. We all have heard about sleep hygiene, putting away our phones, our TV, limiting blue light, not taking a hot bath an hour before bed, or a hot shower, or working out too close to bed, and da 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 da. The list really goes on. So, as an extreme chronic insomniac, those were mildly helpful tools for me. So I can definitely work with you. I've got a couple of clients right now that are overcoming their insomnia that they've had for decades as well. So let me know if this is something I can help you with. Another important one we kind of touched on in that morning hour for yourself is mindfulness and meditation. If you have a practice, I'm sure you're probably implementing it first thing in the morning. That's usually, it's either first thing in the morning or, kind of last thing at night. Doesn't matter if, when you do it. It's just important that you try to do it, every day, make it a habit. And it really gets you out of the survival mode and out of this 3D stressful world, out of expectations of ourselves, expectations from others. It's really where control over your thoughts, feelings, actions, future come into. So, like I said, I've got tons of videos that I've done, not tons, maybe 4 or 5 about meditation. I did them in March. So if you need any of those, let me know. And if you want extra support, you can always contact me there too and find out where to start. Or if you've kind of gotten stuck in your meditation practices, it's a huge passion of mine. I didn't know hardly anything about meditation until semi-recently. And had I known more about it, maybe my life would have been easier, as a teenager and young adult. I had only heard about one type of meditation, and it really didn't seem that beneficial long term for me. So, super passionate. I research about different meditation styles and how to practice and how to get into it and why it's helpful and all that stuff now. And because not all my clients resonate with the same meditation, and I get it. So, learning more about different types really helps me help you. If you can, my next tip is limiting stress. And of course, this is going to be probably really difficult. We can't always control our jobs. We can't control our families or our environment all the time. But what you can control is your thoughts and feelings about them. And that really goes into some self-awareness, some mindfulness, some thought observing, some emotion observing without judgment, letting them go, some reprogramming, and some other techniques. So if you can't control your environment externally, you can control your environment internally. And I can also help with that too, if that's something you really are stuck with, if you've got a lot of anxiety, rumination, what ifs, just feel overwhelmed with the world, we can work on that too. My last tip is something that has really helped me through everything, and it's engaging activities, but more specifically, ones that give you a sense of purpose and or accomplishment. And this could be hobbies or volunteering or spending time with loved ones or combining those. Examples are I really enjoy doing things on my own. After not being alone for a really long time, always having to be in a relationship, I really started to explore what it meant to be with myself. And if I even liked it, turns out I do. I love it. I don't have to answer to anybody. I can do my own thing. I don't need to worry, if I'm boring other people or, ruining their good time. Not that I worry about that too much. If we're hanging out, I'm hanging out with somebody, usually it's because we've gotten along and we enjoy the same things. But when I go on a hike or I go on a walk, my favorite thing is to slow down and take some photos. I mean, I don't do this every time. It's mostly, either I need to feel inspired or I know I'm in a funk. And my sister actually says, why don't you go take some photos? I know you love to do that. So I take that time, I slow down and be very intentional about taking beautiful photos that I can reflect on later, that I can share later, I can enjoy later, I can enjoy now. So that is something really specific to me, but it's just once again, taking that time for yourself instead of hurrying through a walk, hurrying through a hike just to get from point A to point B. You might look around and enjoy it a little bit, but for me, it's really about slowing down and being intentional. There's also, you can make that mindfulness, in any of your activities. I also feel so much better when I get out of myself and I help other people. So it's either through the work I do or by volunteering. So I think I've always had a volunteer gig at some point since I was in middle school. Started with American Red Cross, then it changed to some different activities in high school. I can't really recall right now. Then just anything and everything I was always raising my hand for. I've sewed heart pillows for breast cancer patients, hospice volunteering. If you guys know my story, that's how I got started as a death doula, was 2 years of hospice volunteering. I loved volunteering at the food bank. Food is a huge passion of mine as well. Hence, my lives are called Brunch with Bree. Just anything and everything, helping, people in the community with ins and outs, photo shoots, moving, cleaning, gardening. I mean, if there's a volunteer opportunity, usually my hands are not too far from it. It just makes me, it's not altruistic at all, because I feel so satisfied. I feel so fulfilled when I'm helping others. So if you've never volunteered and you're in a funk, that's actually, that is number 2. Number 1 is make time for yourself in the morning. Number 2 is go help somebody and try to do it on a regular basis. If you work full time and you only have an hour or 2 on the weekends, that's where you use it. Go use that hour or 2 on the weekend to help somebody. And there are loads and limitless. You don't need money to volunteer either. I love spending my time. I love donating my time, and bodies are so needed, whether it is sorting food at a food bank, holding hands with somebody dying, sewing heart pillows, gardening. It doesn't matter. There are so many opportunities. Just find one that resonates. Be a mentor for a kid. It's a little more commitment, but they're out there. I think those are the big ones that I really think that if you start implementing a couple of these, especially an hour for yourself in the morning, and utilizing it, not just you get out of bed, you get out of bed in that morning, not just wake up and kind of roll around. And that's when you start ruminating, do I really want to get up? And oh my gosh, what do I have to do for the day? Da, 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 da. Where if you set intentions for that hour, reading, writing, movement, mindfulness, meditation, set those intentions and accomplish them every day, you will start to notice a change in your thoughts and your feelings, and of course, your actions. So let me know if there are any questions or comments, if you need any help on any of these areas. I'm looking forward to you becoming your happiest, healthiest self, and whether that is for the first time or again, I'm excited nonetheless.